He ain't get nowhere close. They teamed up with Jay-Z. Puff Daddy ain't do no show, do no song talking about shout out to my connect. Jay-Z said shout out to my connect. He's in line with the Glazer family, owner of the Tampa Bay Bucks. They own Manchester United. Shad Khan owns Tottenham. That's why we having all this NFL games in Europe, because the opium, heroin comes from overseas, and the best way to get that tonnage of drugs to the United States is through the equipment of these NFL teams. Why you think ESPN is paying NFL billions of dollars? It's money laundering. Now, I can't prove any of this. If I had proof, I'd be a dead man. It's just my theory. Y'all call me crazy, bat shit, all you want. It's just my theory. It's just Jungle Brother just talking nonsense. Okay? You sit down at the dinner table tonight with the family, don't quote my ass. Okay? Because the less people believe in me, the longer I have to live. But if I had proof to this, I'd be a dead man. This is serious business. That's why NFL is going to Europe. All these games in Europe. They transporting that money. They transporting that drugs from Turkey, Afghanistan to England, putting it on the little training, putting through these training equipment. Who's gonna think of checking the NFL stuff? You know how many? Just think of all the equipment you could use to smuggle drugs. Just look at all the equipment they have. I mean, I'm getting sidetracked, but let me get back to Free Agent Ready for Life post. He said, there's a new black network started by J.C. Watt Jr. Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is a majority investor in the company. What's up, Grego? Give me a second. Give me a second. Angry Black Man said it had now made it so that when ninjas are the victim, they should forgive the perpetrator in this case, white supremacists. When did a colonizer ever forgive a black person in the same vein that funky bitches were riding for the saltine funky bitch? And then the butter biscuit police chief gives their BS press conference stating some murderers drove 4.5 hours to jack some fucking weed. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to rejoin Moist Squad. Get the fuck out of here. Let me read that one more time for effect. It had now made it so that when ninjas are the victim, they should forgive the perpetrator in this case, the white supremacists. When did a colonizer ever forgive a black person in the same vein that funky bitch were riding for that saltine funky bitch? That funky bitch you talking about is a judge riding for that saltine funky bitch in Bagaiga. And then the butter biscuit police chief, you know, that same monkey looking bald head motherfucker representing the Dallas Police Department, did that press conference talking about they had arrested suspects. Get that BS press conference stating some murderers drove 4.5 hours to jack some fucking weed. Yeah, okay, and I'm going to rejoin Moist Squad. Get the fuck out of here. .334 Bound Boy says, I know this from combat lifesaver course. When there's a gunshot wound to the chest, you should try to seal the wound. meaning not let any air in or out due to possible lungs collapsing. So pumping on the chest was bullshit. That's pretty much pumping his lungs with blood. What's up, BS3? Hold on for a second. Let me write his name down. What's going on, brother? Angry Black Man said 1994 crime bill, sir. McConnell and Biden are the same racist saltines. You know that. Today is not the day to expose their bullshit along with the fake black president 44. Angry Black Man is on record opposing Joe Biden. He says Joe Biden is in the same dirt, is cut from the same cloth as Mitch McConnell. And he also said Barack Obama is a fake black president. That's his opinion. Let's move on. Griff said Diamond and Silk will be used up and on their way out soon. Hashtag Super Coon. Hey, what's going on, Ruff? Ruff will know what we talking about today. We start with Joshua Brown. Then I'm going to talk about the 5 most influential congressional members. Then I'm going to talk about the top 10 assistant coaches that should be up for head coaches. Then I'm going to talk about the top 35 pro football players in the world right now. Angry Black Man says Aaron McGruger did a Boondocks episode showing how BET operated in regards to programming choices. "34 Bound Boy said there are zero black stations anymore. They only show reruns of old shows, reality shows, and BS award shows. Nothing informative." Angry Black Man says BET lost me when they got rid of Ed Gordon's show and Teen Summit. Griff says ABM exactly. They also had a Sunday morning news panel show that was good. That Ninja says, I love it. How did Jungle Brother pull all this shit off the top of his head? Griff said J.C. Watt was used by them as well, then discarded, just like Michael Steele. If y'all don't know, Michael Steele was the former chairman of the Republican Party. Angry Black Man said that Ninja, he is a flat booty liberal, white lady sitting beside him, feeding him this info. I've been doing this since 2015, and every time I do a political show, there's always opposition. There's always hecklers. So I'm ready for it. Bring it on. You will not derail my show. So ABM you and your constituents, y'all can bring it on. My show will not be derailed. Y'all will not get me upset. Y'all will not get me to end the show. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Angry Black Man says, respect the Theory Jungle on NFL and drug transport. Everybody say what's up to Denise Milk and Cookies. What's going on, Denise? Sidney Jackson says, I can't dismiss a conspiracy theory as being too crazy because the shit that has happened is far crazier. Ask Oliver North and Rick Ross. Anybody who don't know, Oliver North is the point man for the Reagan/Bush administration. What he did is he funneled drugs to the Nicaraguans, the Contras. It had nothing to do with Iran, but they put that Iran to throw you up the scent. Okay, Oliver North gave the cocaine to the Contras. The Contras gave the drugs to Rick Ross. No, excuse me. The Contras gave the drugs to what's this guy name? The Contras gave the drugs to Blendon, whatever his name was. He was a Contra, and they gave the drugs to Rick Ross, and Rick Ross distributed the drugs in the South LA area. That's the cover story. Now, ain't no telling if Rick Ross made a deal. Ain't no telling if Rick Ross taking the responsibility away from a whole bunch of other cutouts. Cutouts meaning names who handled the drugs before it got to Rick Ross. By saying Rick Ross was so major in the drug operation, that cuts out a whole bunch of in-betweens. So, the cover story is Rick Ross and the Colombians, the Pablo Escobar. They say Pablo Escobar gave it to Blendon, Rick Ross contact, and he gave it to Rick Ross. That's cutting out a whole bunch of names. They're not talking about Vietnam. They're not talking about Afghanistan. They're not talking about Oliver North, the Reagan/Bush administration. They're not talking about all that. They're not talking about Bolivia. It's a whole lot bigger. By making Rick Ross bigger than what he is, that cut out a whole bunch of other names. When they say the CIA gave drugs to South LA, they talking about Oliver North. He was the point man. That's what he means. Sidney Jackson asked Oliver North. Now, a whole lot of stuff about Oliver North is being declassified. Well, know why it's being declassified? Because George Bush Sr. died. He worked for the vice president. The vice president in the Reagan administration was George Bush Sr. Now, you go on YouTube and you can see all of this. You know what I'm saying? Just do a search for Oliver North, Barry Seal, Iran Contra, Blendon, Rick Ross, all of that. San Jose Mercury News, the journalist got murdered. He broke the story. But see,